whenever you're ready, you can roll tape. This is a new tape?
Mhm.
Okay, so we need to give it a couple minutes.
And don't forget you were supposed to ask a couple of different ones from your son.
Yeah, and I got those, don't worry.
Okay.
This is his first question for you. Nora, you have special talents, we could say gifts. When did you first know about your sight and what happened?
After my grandfather passed away. I was 8 years old and we actually left Flagstaff and moved to California. And I started seeing things that nobody else could see. And it got to the point that my parents actually kind of thought I was losing my mind. And we actually moved to a house in Boulder Creek that was haunted. And they gave me that room because I was already seeing things and was a little bit loony in their mind. They don't really like to acknowledge it. My mother's a little more open than my dad. My dad, even now, will tell you that there's nothing. And in that house, not only did I see everything, my uncle came down and he saw everything that I saw. And I was like, see, I told you, I told you, I told you. So I've been like that all my life. More pronounced for my family than for other people.
What kinds of things did you see?
Now, as an adult, I understand I was seeing both sides. I could see the good as well as the demonic, and I was seeing both. You know, there's a lot of devil worshiping that goes on in California, especially in the area that we had moved to. So I was seeing both sides, and I think that probably as a little girl, it was probably a good thing that I was brought up very Christian. Had already been pretty much saved, because I think otherwise my soul would have been in pretty good jeopardy as a young child. And in fact, my mom and dad actually brought someone in from UCLA that told them that I was very special for that not everybody can see both. So
Can you remember as an 8-year-old what that felt like when you saw?
I was very scared because I didn't understand. You know, my family didn't talk about ghosts. It was not something that we talked about. So for me to start seeing it, to hear it, to smell it, and not have anyone to talk to about it, and them telling me that it was my imagination, it was a little scary. I mean, I have felt covers being yanked off of me, you know, just all kinds of different things ever since I was little.
So what did you do to cope?
Tried not to think about it. Close your eyes. I can remember in the one room in Boulder Creek where it was really pronounced, because not only was it what was being attracted to me, but what was already there. Literally running as hard as I could through that hallway and jumping to the bed. I did not want to be on the floor if the lights were off. I would not go to the bathroom at night if I needed to go. I pretty much stayed in my bed. I do remember, however, my grandfather always being there. So that was my main comfort, was my grandfather being there.
So as you grew older, what did you do?
I think you learn to block a lot of it, just for your own sanity, because you don't want to see everything going on around you. A lot of people don't know, because people want to assume, number one, that you're a lunatic. They want to put you on medicine. So I don't talk about it to a lot of people. But when it comes to my family, I was very open with them, especially if I saw things that concerned them.
So not only are you seeing energies or spirits or ghosts, but you also had premonitions. You could kind of see the future. I know Stacy talked about one of those. Talk a little more about that.
It was after she had went to visit with my uncle. And it was probably a couple days before she was going to come home. And I had the dream several times, very vivid color, of her coming down off of the top of a hill, them actually losing the luggage rack, and them sending her out to get some of the luggage. and seeing a semi come over the top of the hill. And I begged my mom and dad, please put her on the plane, put her on, because I was an adult at that point. You know, because there's 8 years between us. I'll pay for the ticket. Don't let my sister come home. And as it so happened, they actually did come down the top of a hill. Luggage rack came off, but she had hesitated just long enough, probably to save her life. You know, what driver drives with no lights? And it was everything that I had told my mom would happen, other than her being hit by the semi.
Other instances of seeing things like that?
Yeah. My ex-husband's brother. I actually went through his death with him at the time. I actually felt my body being crushed. My ex-husband actually had woke up because I was gasping. I remember holding the dove and walking the stairs and throwing it up to heaven. And his mother came over probably, I guess about 5 or 6 hours later, and Charles had actually went to work in a town I didn't know where it was. I mean, I knew the town, but I'd never been because it was a side job. We were always doing side work. And his mother came in real hysterical. I knew it wasn't Charles because Charles had been gone for a couple hours. I said, Billy, nothing's wrong, because she was really close with Charles. She goes, no, I'm not talking about Charles, I'm talking about William. And I had told him somebody in the family had died that night. And she goes, I need my son, I need my son. I was like, Billy, I really don't know where he's at. I know the town, but I've never been to this house. I don't even have the address. We didn't have cell phones at that point. You can go get him. So his sister went with me. And we pretty much drove right to where he was at to let him know that his brother had been killed the night before. So I've had things like that all my life. Specifically if it was concerning deaths. It seems like I've always known that. Sometimes a year out, which is not fun. So those I can't block. I don't care what I want. I can't block that part. So
Not an easy life.
no, but it builds character. But I really makes your own religious faith a little bit stronger. Because I do believe God gives each of us different gifts. So, and I think that was my gift in many years. I thought it was a curse, but it has paid off sometimes to help.
So it's almost like you have an affinity with death and those who have passed. You see it coming, and now here you are many years later, empowering other spirits to have a voice.
Yep.
Talk about that.
It's different. A lot of people, even here, kind of laugh at us. We've had a couple of times where our residents don't want to talk because they've been laughed at. And those people come in here. But I also think that we can give closure to some of them that need it. You know, we've had some that are no longer coming through. And I'm not sure if it's from our prayers. And you know, it's just me and Sis. We talk about our religious faith in here. So I'm not sure, maybe we're letting them go where they need to go sometimes. And giving them the closures that they need.
So what do you think about defining that? Do you think that, as some people say, many of them are trapped here in a sense and haven't passed on to the light? Or do you think they come back and forth? Or
I think many of them do come back and forth. You know, from what I've seen, I mean, I can hear it where a lot of people can't. I mean, I hear them when they're coming through here, and I improve it even on our audio. You can hear like a bell sound, clunk, and it's always usually before a new one starts speaking. So I know they can cross both ways, but I also think that there are some that are afraid to go over don't even know, because it happens so fast that they don't realize. And there are also the fact that a lot of people don't believe that there's demons. There are demons, and you have to be really careful. And that's the one thing that for my sister, I always pray that to continue being able to discern the differences, because we've been places and I was the one that knew beyond a shadow of a doubt what we were dealing with and got us out.
So the fact that many of the residents here have historical significance, and they're often tied to a tragedy of being killed when they're young. We have 20-year-olds here, we have 8-year-olds here. What do you think about that?
I think some of them like the town. I think some of them just don't want to let go. Our Bible teaches us, if you're a Christian, that there is the second coming. Also tells you that you are not in heaven, but you're not here on earth. So where are you? If you really want to even go further, go scientifically with physics and the quantum. Energy never dies. It just changes forms. They've proved we lose weight several ounces the minute we die. And it's not from losing body fluid. I mean, there's a lot for me that just proves it. You can go to the scientific. I mean, I'm a mechanical designer. It's not like I don't know how to use that scientific portion for me. It's science first. But for me, I have that ability to see what others don't. And many people I've worked with over the years have no clue. A lot of them have asked me how I've known beforehand, 6 months, year out, to start saving before layoffs. It's being in tune with what's going on and feel what's going on and save.
I know you talked about having to close down a bit because of what you were seeing, and now as you mature, you're ready to kind of open up again. What does that really mean?